Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to this Monday, the 28th of December, 2020. Well, I'm sure you've all had your fill of your Christmas dinner and the leftovers, and still probably making your way through presents and maybe catching up as best with people over the virtual way of doing things, because of course we can't move past our counties at the moment. We can only move within our counties at the moment, which is not too bad. And maybe you have found different ways of doing things. I certainly know that I have, and because I look after I have looked after different members of the family, and certainly when we were in the first lockdown, I was doing shopping, and I actually used WhatsApp when I go shopping, because it means that I can call whoever I'm doing shopping for, and they get to see what's in the shops as well, so I bet you there's bits and pieces that we've all done, and I think it's actually quite relevant, because the name of this chapter is Inner Voice or Inner Child, and it's the 6th chapter in the Been There, Done That, Still Not Bought the T-shirt book by yours truly, myself. And we are led by our inner knowingness, or our inner voice, or our inner child, as I like to refer to it. And we find ways of doing things. But unfortunately, most of the time, we don't actually listen to that part of ourselves, and then we regret not listening to it. So what do I mean by all of that? Well, let's get on and read the chapter, and let's find out. Okay, so chapter 6 of Been There, Done That. Been there, done that, still not bought the T-shirt, and the chapter is called Inner Voice or Inner Child. When I was doing my training and my spiritual path, one thing I learned about was the inner voice, inner child, inner knowingness. Everyone is different as to how they refer to it. It is entirely up to you what you call it. This inner voice or inner child resides in your soul, in your belly, your gut feeling, or the solar plexus, just above the belly button. Yes, I can literally hear the lead weights dropping now that you are realizing about that nudge you get from your belly. Do not worry. I had the same feeling, when I learned about what that nudge actually meant. I related to calling it my inner child, although depending on my conversation and who I'm speaking with, or what sense I'm making of a situation, I may refer to it as my inner voice or inner knowingness. I know you have gotten that ache in your belly. That is your inner voice, your inner knowingness, or as I really love to call it, my inner child. Just for the record, my inner child can throw a temper tantrum when I am not listening to it. And in the past, when I have ignored it, it throws wobblers, and it has ended with me in all sorts of trouble for not listening, especially when it came to people. I could walk into a room of 100 people and I would get good feelings and bad feelings. I would second guess myself when I would get the bad feelings. And well, let's just say when people showed their true colours towards me, I would always think back to when I first met the person or even saw them. And my inner child would be screaming, please stay away from this person. They are not going to be compatible with you. And then, as sure as those birds laid those eggs, when it all went tits up, that inner child would be staring up at me and smugly saying, I told you so then, and you did not listen. You two were never going to be compatible. And let's just, be very aware, this isn't just about relationships. This is friends, this is colleagues, this is anybody. This isn't just relationships. This is every person you come in contact with. You see, I've reached an eye-opening realization with people I've fallen out with, because it's as much my fault as it is theirs. It is. My inner child tried to tell me that this person was not a match for my inner circle, and my human side chose to ignore it. I don't normally like repeating myself, but I actually feel I feel quite strongly about this particular sentence, so just bear with me. I'd like to repeat it again. My inner child tried to tell me that this person was not a match for my inner circle, and my human side chose to ignore it. Sometimes it took years for the person to be removed, and other times it just happened in a short period of time. But without fail, my inner child would do its own victory dance of "I told you so" when it blew up in my face. To the point my inner child actually has its own song, created its own musical. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight when you get the "I told you so" victory dance. So I try not to, I try to listen an awful lot more now. Your inner voice, your inner knowingness, or your inner child does try to communicate with you all the time, throughout the day and even at night as we dream. Your dreams are symbols of your waking day. Even if other people are in your dreams, they are symbols of your life. For example, your boss is in your dream doing whatever they are doing, and they are not there for any other reason than to highlight a trait that you see in yourself. And it could be a trait you're proud of, or a trait that you hate in yourself, or one you hope to God you do not have, or a trait you hope to develop. It's true. Listen to that gut. It is a wealth of information, and it knows you better than anyone else does, even you. I am of the humble opinion that one of the best gifts we were given when we became humans was this inner voice, this inner knowingness, or the inner child. The problem is that in order for us to live our lives and experience all of its highs and lows, that beautiful inner voice, an extremely valuable part of ourselves, had to be counteracted with the devil on our shoulder, or better known as ego. Yep, please do not think that ego is just for big-headed posers and people who have more wealth than they know what to do with. Ego is that negative voice in your head that second guesses everything and tells you you are worthless. Sometimes you need to give ego a job. I usually start by telling it to go play with the traffic, or not today, thanks. And if that does not work, tell it to go play with the Bermuda Triangle. I usually tell it to do that when I want to meditate and I need my mind to be at ease. I love the Buddhist take on ego. Thank you to whoever put this into simple words. Ego is just like dust in the eyes. Without clearing the dust, we can't see anything clearly. So clear the ego and see the world. Okay, so hands up and be honest. Who has now got a huge smile on their face and saying, for feck's sake, woman, please do not tell me it is this easy. Nah, trust me, people. If it was this easy, I would have taken my own advice years ago and saved me and other people an awful lot of heartache. I'm not under any illusion. I know there are a fierce amount of people who have regretted meeting me and delighted to have me out of their lives and are wishing they had listened to their own inner child, inner voice, inner knowingness. But to those, I say, just remember, as I do, and I do remember, there were good times as well. There was a time you actually enjoyed having me in your life, and where I was the first person you picked up the phone to. But again, in the words of a reason, a season, a lifetime, I was not to travel your path, just as you were not to travel mine. I learned from you, and hopefully you learned something from me, even if it was only something small. Your inner voice is not just about people, it is for everything, even down to shopping. Oh, and how I wish there were people out there that listen to their inner voice when it comes to style. And then I stop myself and think, maybe they did listen to their inner voice. Who's told them it is no one else's business what you wear. You look good. You feel good. You are good. I will need someone to explain to me the shorts being worn by the young ones nowadays, where you can actually see their bum cheeks as they walk along the road. Parents, yes, your children are wearing these shorts, even if you don't think that they are, or they're leaving the house dressed one way and with a bag, they're in the bag and they change into them when they leave the house. And it's not a good look. But hey, that's just my opinion. I need to turn my video camera around because obviously I'm doing this by video, and I have pictures going throughout my book. And this is a very powerful picture, and I need to turn it around for the next part. So just bear with me while I hopefully turn this around. Okay, I don't actually know how to turn it mid, so I'm going to do this. So I am pointing towards this picture here, so hopefully you can see this. Okay, now, and I need you, and you can Google that picture, there's no problem. So I'm about to show you an image, and the first time I saw it, it blew me away. Please do not move on and read anything else until you have really seen this image for what it is and what it portrays. I cried the first time I saw it, and I'm going to show it to you again. Now, so why am I showing you this picture? If you are still unsure as to the meaning behind this powerful picture, by all means Google it. The words are immensely powerful and really do put it into perspective. However, I always feel that sometimes what we do need to do is to listen to what our gut is saying, and why at this moment in time am I being shown a particular picture or phrase or thought process. We all just want to be seen for who we really are. Our soul, it is our one true self, but it takes a lot to let people see the truth that we hold there. The outside of us is what people see, but it is, after all, only skin deep. There's so much more to us. There is a depth. The biggest problem we face is that we reach a stage in our lives for a long time when we do not really know who to show our vulnerable side to. Because as youngsters, we wore our hearts on our sleeves, and growing up can really suck big time for most of us. It did for me. I had a great home life. Please don't get me wrong. I had a wonderful home life. Just my school life sucked. Hated school. Hated it. It's not until you possibly reach 40s or 50s that you begin to develop the attitude of, I really do not care what people think. But deep down inside, I do always wonder if there is still that inner part we just do hold on to. That part that never ever gets shown to anyone, no matter how old we get. As the picture portrays, even though the babies are trapped in the body of an adult, they can still see and reach each other. It is the vulnerable, truthful side of us. Babies have a pure innocence about them, a wonderful truth. They do not come into this world with perception, with judgment, with hatred, with decisions made, with bigotry. Babies come into this world with wanting to be held, loved, fed, and to be seen. I feel that this is what our vulnerable side holds on to. From babies, we grow. We are taught hatred, bigotry, judgment, and so on. Children learn it. They don't come into the world with it. They learn it. The love we are taught is how our parents perceive love and tolerance. And then as children, we head off to school where we are introduced to a whole new way of learning. And this comes from friends who, just as we have been taught by our parents, have also been taught by their parents. But the new little human beings in our lives have probably been taught different things as to what we've been taught. And due to kids being naive, because it does take a tough one to stand up and disagree with their friends' opinions and viewpoints, because they do not want to be laughed at or ridiculed or bullied. The little brains become overloaded as to who and what they should believe. But you can be sure when they are on their own, that voice inside of them is screaming at them and telling them what is wrong with what they are hearing from friends and other people. And to be honest with you, sometimes even from their own parents. That's frightening, isn't it? Your child could know what they're being taught is not right. And what is right. But unless they have been taught about this powerful voice within, they do not know how to use it. So I ask all parents everywhere, reintroduce yourself back to your inner voice, your inner knowingness, your inner child. Then teach your children about it. And if you did not know that it existed, stand up and take yourself to a long mirror. Take a deep breath in and back out. Look at your belly button and introduce yourself and listen to what that voice is trying to tell you. Do not underestimate the power of your own understanding or what it means to be in your own skin. Are you walking in your shoes, or is someone else plodding along in them on your behalf? You have heard the great saying, before you start to judge me, step into my shoes and walk the life I'm living. And if you get as far as I am, just maybe you will see how strong I really am. Again, an unknown author. I do hope that all these unknown authors, if they are still alive, read this book and let the world know who they are, because they seriously have helped me over the years when I needed perspective. I indeed have been part of bitching sessions. Who has not? Go on. Just try and deny that you have not been part of a bitching session. Just try it. Because we all have. Even men. I have given out about people and made comments. And then when I feel that release of getting whatever it was needed off my chest, that awful guilt flows over me where I become ashamed of myself. My brain would kick in and genuinely I would always turn around and say, I do not have a right to comment on other people's lives. Or maybe what they do suits them, and what right have I to say how people should or should not live their lives? Or maybe we are just jealous and try and laugh it off. I have always been able to put my hand on my heart and say I am not a jealous person. I genuinely do not think I've ever been jealous of anyone. Even when things have hit rock bottom for me and someone I know got good news, I would celebrate with that person and genuinely be happy for them. I do feel I have been a part of bitching sessions where I cannot say for sure that other people were only bitching and giving out because in fact they were jealous of the other person's achievements. Who knows? The problem we have is that when we find ourselves being thrown into negative situations, we allow people's opinions of us to stop us from moving forward. And that is wrong. Let that inner voice guide you to your full potential and your life's ambition, no matter how big or small it is. I know most of you are asking now, but how? How do we do this? Most of the gurus out there will tell you to be still and meditate and let the words come to you. And when you can achieve this, you will be enriched. There are lots of meditations you can follow to achieve this. That's if you want to meditate. That's if you like meditating. That's if it's your thing. Then there are those who cannot or will not want to meditate, but still will want to achieve this inner voice advice. I love to meditate, but I don't do it all the time. Instead, I take myself off to the forest, go walking, absorb myself in the surroundings of nature. And this is a form of meditation. There's also those big adult colouring books that you can get. That's actually a form of meditation when you sit down. It's quite powerful. It is amazing the profound effect Mother Nature can have on the body. Try it. Give it a go. Here's also another amazing trick, and so simple. Get lost in the magic of a candle flame. This is something so powerful. My apologies. There is something so powerful of finding your favorite corner, lighting a candle, and then sitting comfortably back with or without music, whichever suits you best, and then watch that candle dance. It's one of my favorite things to do. And again, I don't do the same thing all the time. I try to mix it up, but it is one of my favorite things. And I just sit in the darkness and all there is a candle flame. And sometimes I sit there and actually, to be honest with you, most of the time I do it without music. But some people can't just sit there in the still. They need the music. So there's no problem. Want to try it? Go on. Chapter 7 can wait. Take even 10 minutes to sit in that corner with that candle flame and just try it. Well, guys, that is the end of chapter 6. And I have really, really enjoyed this chapter. I think even before I sat down to start writing the book, there was definitely things where I was going, oh, that so has to go in. That so has to go in. And the inner voice, inner knowingness, inner child, always had to go in. But please remember, I am not calling it an inner child because it's a child of like 2 or 3 years of age. I'm calling it an inner child because it's your inner truth. And as babies, they don't know anything else but truth and honesty. And it is what it is. And that's why I call it my inner child, for no other reason. Because it is the truth. It is your honesty. It is your voice. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye.